My training is as a printmaker, but I use a lot of different media in creating my work. My work focuses on different belief systems that human cultures, particularly Western cultures, have created in order to structure their lives in society. During the residency, I'm researching the McColl Center, its history, from its beginning as a Presbyterian church to its work today as an art center. So the McColl Center functioned as a space for a congregation in a really traditional sense. By the 1950s, a few decades after it was built, the post-war decline of city centers, which happened all over the US, and the development of the suburbs caused it to start to lose its congregations. The church ran until the 80s with only 75 members. They just couldn't sustain the property or raise the funds. So then when it was abandoned, it was a shelter for the homeless. And that transformation is part of what I want to try to represent through different media and layers.
At the heart of the matter, I'm a painter who makes installations of paintings and objects. In my work, there is an outer layer, but what's beneath that layer sometimes is revealed, sometimes wants to be contained. I relate those elements to the lives of women. How much femininity or how much softness should we show? How much harshness or hardness? Sometimes we can get caught in the middle, blending gender. So through my work, I am questioning what it means to be a woman, what it means to be feminine. I've been studying women from history, things that they were able to accomplish, not because they were a woman, but they were able to do in the face of being a woman. They weren't meant to do the things that they did, but still did them, still forged ahead. My fear is that femininity might at one point be lost. Young women today might not recognize all the things that women have overcome.
From painting, I've been able to experiment, try out new mediums, also been able to find out a little bit more about myself to try to overcome some of my fears. I primarily paint oceanscapes. For me, it's therapeutic, and I do it because of my near-drowning accidents that I've had. I've had 3, but I actually go out to the ocean. I put myself in that environment as much as I can stand, so where you feel like you're there. As I continue to evolve in my works of these larger paintings, I've gotten into really studying myself and my emotions, and so I've been doing portraits of myself. We're all a work in process, so as long as we're continuing to put ourselves out there and we feel like we're growing as an individual, that's what I want you to experience, to where you're asking yourself these questions, to know more, to see the other side, to see that other perspective.
My work is about being a Black woman, a minority woman in corporate. Now, my white female colleagues are more forthcoming with their comments. They would say things like, "Oh, girl, how'd you get your hair like that?" Or, "Can my hair do that? I don't know." And I said, well, we should try it. But this is the thing, I'm gonna give you an experience, but I need you to take this picture. People wondered, well, is this their normal look? But what difference did it make if that's the look they wanted, right? And so the idea is that we conform sometimes to fit into a corporate environment and sometimes hide and shield who we really are. Pretend you're in the hallway and you are waiting for the moment for your interview. And you're waiting for them to come get you because you know you've been practicing your words, you've done a couple of mock interviews. So normally I'm taking pictures as they stand thinking about that, because that's what it's about, that moment of contemplation. And so many times the photograph that we end up loving is the one they didn't know they were posing for. Each one has a different kind of attitude towards the thought. Some are ready, and others are like, I don't know. That's what these women are. They're vulnerable in front of the camera, which is beautiful because it allows other people to know it's okay, right? And many times within corporate spaces, we act like we have to be a certain thing, right? I have to wear a suit. I cannot wear an afro with big red hair, right? Like, I can't do that. I would never get the job. And maybe that possibly could be the case. But in front of my camera, you could be exactly who you want to be. In this fictional backdrop, you can stand here and you can be uncertain. You're at home, right? And that's the most important thing.
Something that I took from my first art class in college was try to design things to not be on a stand and try to design things that don't have a front and a back. So I took that either literally or straight to heart because I don't like having a front or a back or really a top or a bottom. I remember my old welding teacher, he would say there's trigger pullers and there's welders. I always tried to be the latter. I just like working with metal. It's fun to me. The material is incredible. You can do anything with it. I guess it is the immediacy and the permanence, but also it's super easy to take everything apart. And unlike working with wood, you can't just add more wood, but you can always add more steel. Pretty much everything's based on a circle, and it's important to me that the circle stays either folded or rolled instead of stretched, so it maintains being a circle. And then the side pieces just either hammer formed or used on the English wheel to make a smooth curve in two directions, if that's what the form needs to complete the sides. Everything's welded, ground down, sanded, and painted. I enjoy painting just as much as welding. I guess it is the same thing as the immediacy. You can see the color go down immediately, and you can see if the color is wrong immediately too.
We've been able to do partnerships with people from all over the world, people local in Charlotte, people around the state and in other states.
We get our inspiration from the things that are going on in our world, and then as we're creating work, we have several feedback sessions throughout. So we'll work on a piece, bring in community members, other artists, non-artists to give feedback, and then based on that feedback, we'll continue to develop, because we really believe that art shouldn't be developed in a vacuum, but in collaboration with our community, both with the artistic community and the greater Charlotte area.
The arts realm is a place for expression, and that as people come together and try to express themselves in the fullest way that they possibly can, there leaves room for discussion, there leaves room for connection. We start to notice the ways in which our humanity lines up with another person who's very different from us. So by virtue of creating pieces that deal with this particular issue in an artistic way, we're not just saying, let's sit down at a table and let's argue with each other. We're saying, allow us to present this information to you in a really different way that's going to speak to something in you that's innately human. And by doing that, we can bring you to the table with other people who think differently from you, but connect with that in a similar way because of just the human spirit, the common bond, the way in which we as people interact with our environment. And then we can talk to each other. We can see nuance where before we saw black and white. We can encounter difficult issues that we don't quite know how to deal with or how to process, because we can see the more human element in them rather than just viewing them as an issue. Seeing that common spirit that we share, to me, that's one of the great things that art can do, and it's one of the things that we try to do with our art.